This is a production of the Gold Arrow Podcast Network. Hello, and welcome to the Gold Arrow Camp Podcast, a podcast for friends of Gold Arrow Camp. Throughout the year, we join you to bring your day some of what makes Gold Arrow special. Our goal is to help you have fun, make friends, and grow throughout the year, not just when you're at GAC. Since we can't get together in real life, we gather here, around the virtual campfire. We have some of your favorite parts of morning assembly, like Joke of the Day. We also have interviews with experienced campers and some of your favorite counselors. We think it's a lot of fun, and we're glad you joined us here on the podcast. This is episode 30, where we're joined by one of this year's head counselors. Say hello to Peanut Butter. And yes, this is safe even if you're allergic to peanuts. I really enjoyed getting to chat about camp with Peanut Butter. She was very open about how she met people when she first came to camp. We had a really nice chat about what she did as a counselor to make friends, and also what she did to help her campers make friends, which was super appropriate since this year's camp theme is, of course, Find a Friend. We also talked about her favorite activity, which is, in her opinion, underrated at camp. Now, I'm not playing any guitar today because I've relocated my axe up to camp so that I can practice on the big campfire stage, so I don't have it here in the studio. You'll just have to catch me at Big Campfire, I suppose. Oh, welcome to the podcast, Peanut Butter. What's up?
Thank you. Thank you, so I'm stoked to be here.
I'm so excited to have you join us.
Thanks.
So it's hard to believe, but not everybody knows you and who you are. So before we really get started here, could you tell us a little about who you are, how long you've been coming to camp, what you do at camp, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so this is going to be my third year at camp. I've always been a group counselor for the Lions girls, which I absolutely adore and love. Originally found camp off Google, which is not everyone's typical camp searching device, but super excited I did, and came in my first year not really knowing anyone, which was a very unique experience, I think.
Sure.
But that really forced me to branch out and grow in ways I didn't even know I could grow. So very thankful to camp for that.
So you mentioned it, so we should probably talk about it. You came without knowing anybody, and I know a lot of times first-year campers are very nervous that they're going to come and they don't know anybody. What do you think it is about camp that makes it where that's not a big deal once camp gets started, that you don't know anybody?
Yeah, I mean, I came in and originally I kind of thought I was behind because everyone was like, oh, like swag and Cheddar and all these people, and I, yelling at people, yelling their names, and I was like, hello, I'm a condiment. I like crunchy peanut butter. And but after the first few days, you just realize why people are so happy to see each other at the beginning of camp is because the deep friendships they form there are so amazing. And it's really just due to unplugging from technology. You get to know people so much better and quicker than I think in real life. So it's just a really cool experience. So to any new counselors, I would just say embrace it all. If you're feeling uncomfortable, embrace that, and the comfort and the new friends will come.
And so that's like on the counselor side. What is it as a counselor what would you do to help the girls make friends?
Yeah, I would kind of do group activities, something where everyone can be involved, and something that's kind of, easy for each camper to do. So maybe don't pick something that only a few campers can do, because then that creates kind of that isolation. But, easy games where you can just ask weird questions or sit in a circle and just talk with each other. I think that's the best way, because everyone ends up learning things that they have in common that they never knew they did. So
awesome. So you were a group counselor for 3 years. This year you're going to be a head counselor.
Yeah.
What?
Group counselor for 2 years.
Oh, right. This is your third year. I'm tracking.
Yeah.
You get a banner this year. Okay.
Yeah.
What was the best part about being a GC?
Oh my gosh. It's just such an amazing position. Honestly, I think it's like the full impact of being with the kids all the time. I love that. I feel like I'm like a stay-at-home parent almost. I'm always with like my babies.
Sure.
And you get to know them like so well. And for me, it was like the friendships I formed with them. They can tell when you're kind of having like a down day or you need extra help. And I felt like my campers, I learned so much more from them than they did from me. And they helped me in ways I never knew I needed help. But ultimately, just the friendships I would form with them and just see them grow and do scary things. That was really inspiring.
I think you touch on something that often gets overlooked, and it's this idea that one of the ways that camp is really cool, I think, is what the technical term is probably near peer mentorship. This idea that campers can become friends with people who are just enough older than them that they seem really, really cool.
Yeah.
I think that
exactly.
We spend a lot of time talking about, trying new things and adventure and all this. And really a big part of it is hanging out with kind of 20 to 24-year-olds who genuinely want to spend time with a 13-year-old.
Yeah. And that's what's so cool about it is that we're both so stoked on hanging out with each other that everyone's just having a great time. So it's really cool. I think of them as as my little sisters.
Right.
And it's funny sometimes because I feel like I'm almost a little sister in some roles and
Sure.
they're like teaching me things, like how to be weird and goofy and just have fun. That's
true.
Something that's so important.
So speaking of having fun, what's your favorite activity at camp?
Oh my gosh. Favorite activity. Oh, that's so hard. Honestly, and this is an activity that I think gets overlooked is GACting.
Sure.
I think when you get into GACting kind of in a later time in the session and your cabin's all really comfortable with each other, I love seeing my cabin just get super weird and doing all these funny impressions and awkward bench. And I think it's so much fun to watch and participate in.
I would agree. I was talking with Chippy about it, and GACting is nice because if you're just walking by, so if I'm going from one activity area to another and I swing by GACting, you can just stop and be in GACting for like 5 minutes and participate. And then you'd be like, well, I'm gone. And it's kind of a really cool thing.
Yeah, exactly. So.
All right. So you like GACting. What's your favorite camp memory?
Oh, my favorite camp memory. I think favorite camp memory would probably be going camping with one of my cabins. And I just think camping is such a fun activity in general, especially I never got to go that much as a Lions GC, but one of the few times I went, it was so much fun. And my whole cabin just really bonded over that experience because pretty much every girl went and we all got to kind of create this funny skit that we end up performing for everyone. And I think we were probably the ones that thought it was the most funny.
That's how skits generally are.
Yeah, so we all thought it was hilarious. Not sure everyone else did, but I still remember the lyrics to the song we sang, and my girls would talk about it for weeks on end, and it was just such a cool experience to be out in nature and just generally have fun with each other and
I think
the wilderness.
I think backpacking is somewhat underrated. People only think about the walking and the pack part, but once you get there and you're out away from everything, it's a really an awesome opportunity as a cabin group to bond.
Yeah.
So you're back in the real world for a little bit longer here before camp gets started again. What lessons from camp are you using kind of on a daily basis?
Oh man. Camp literally, I don't know where I would be without camp. So I'm substitute teaching right now.
Sure.
And I use the skills I've learned at Gold Arrow daily in my life just to, keep the classroom somewhat contained.
Sure.
Anyone who's, I think, been a teacher knows that, you really can't contain kids, but you can somewhat keep it under control. So just fun activities that I can reward the kids with if they've been doing a lesson plan or something like that. I think that's something that's so valuable that Gold Arrow really hits on is giving you so many tools to use that when the time comes, you're almost like, which one do I pick? I have so many at this point. So that's something that I think about all the time.
All right, peanut butter. It's time for the speed round.
Okay.
What's your favorite camp song?
Camp song. Probably Penguin Dance.
Penguins, okay. Favorite item on the salad bar?
Oh my gosh, the pesto.
Oh,
Best.
I knew that actually. I knew that you'll put pesto on basically anything.
anything and everything.
What is your favorite lip balm flavor?
Vanilla tree.
Oh, yeah, I'm with you. Mallows or popcorn?
Popcorn.
And finally,
Definitely.
peanut butter. Crunchy peanut butter. What's your
Yes.
real name? Oh, no, we're all out of time. We'll have to get you back on the show another time to talk about your real name. Thanks so much for coming on the podcast, Peanut Butter.
No problem. Thank you for having me. It was so much fun.
In a world with far too much seriousness, far too much drama, we bring you something different. The joke of the cast. Do you know why you can't give Elsa a balloon? Because she'll let it go. And now, it's time for another GACspiration with Sunshine.
This week's GACspiration comes from Taylor Swift. Maybe you're not meant to fit in. Maybe you're supposed to stand out.
Well, that does it. That's another episode of the Gold Arrow Camp podcast in the books and in your earbuds. We really appreciate you taking the time to download and listen to the podcast. If you like it, share it with a friend. If you have suggestions for improvements, by all means, email them to us. You can also send us wows that we can read here on the podcast. The email is wows@goldarrowcamp.com. I want to thank Sunshine for reading that inspirational Taylor Swift quote. I want to thank Taylor Swift for sharing that quote with the world. I want to especially thank Peanut Butter for taking the time to sit down and talk with us about friendship and what she loves about camp. I want to thank bensounds.net for providing the intro and outro music on the show. And again, I want to thank you for listening. I'm Soy, and I'll save a marshmallow for you.